This evening, Victoria's Premier John Brumby has conceded defeat, paving the way for Liberal leader Ted Baillieu to become the state's 46th Premier. Mr Baillieu visited Government House tonight after a dramatic election which came down to the result in one seat in Melbourne's southeast. The change of government brings to an end more than a decade of Labor rule in Victoria, as Hamish Fitzsimmons reports from Melbourne.
In essence, after 11 years, the people of Victoria felt that it was time to give another team and another party a chance. And as one observer put it to me earlier today, the weight of time took its toll.
John Brumby ended 11 years of Labor rule in Victoria after his loss on the weekend, today paying tribute to his party's achievements.
There is no doubt in my mind that we leave Victoria today a stronger, a better and a fairer place than we found it 11 years ago. And in that context,
and for the new Premier, tomorrow ushers in a new political era.
Relishing the opportunities which lie in front of us, but we're also very sanguine about the work that needs to be done.
In the end, the result hung on the outcome of one seat, Bentley in Melbourne's southeast, as the coalition hovered on 44, one seat short of a total majority.
I'll just do a quick intro. Glenn is your team leader for today.
For a moment, these Electoral Commission officials and scrutineers were the most important people in the state, as every vote was forensically examined and argued over.
No.
No?
Sorry. Has to be all numbers. Ticks
It doesn't have to be all numbers.
But the numbers really fell into place early on Saturday evening. Opinion polls had showed the coalition with a slight edge over the Labor government, and as the booths closed, it was clear the election was up for grabs.
I will say this. I think we're seeing a swing of about 6% at the moment, which is on the cusp of something remarkable happening.
Yep.
Of the 13 seats gained by the coalition, 12 were won by the Liberals in the southeast of Melbourne, a mixture of established and newer suburbs. It's an area hit hard by key election issues like the cost of living and Melbourne's public transport difficulties.
I think transport was probably the crucial issue. The inability of the government to turn around the problems with Victoria's transport system became a symbol of what was seen as its paralysis, its fatigue as a government and its age as a government.
Seats Labor expected to hold, like Carrum, contributed to the shock of the loss.
to be honest, we just didn't expect to lose. You know, we'd polled Carrum, by the way, and it showed us comfortably retaining that seat. So we just didn't expect to lose it.
More than 500,000 people used postal votes, which favoured the major parties. And as expected, the Greens didn't win any of the inner city seats they were confident of taking from Labor prior to the crucial decision by the Liberals to preference the Greens last. The defeated Greens candidate for the seat of Melbourne had a very green explanation for the large absentee vote.
Today the Great Victorian Bike Ride starts up on the Murray. I know there are a lot of people from the electorate who are going off to do that. It's bushwalking season, so there's a lot of people go out doing that sort of thing.
While the Prime Minister was politically philosophical about her home state.
You don't need to be too much of a student of political history to know that it is very difficult for long-term governments to present and have their mandate renewed, and I think that's what we've seen happen in Victoria.
While John Brumby failed to be elected Premier in his own right after taking over from Steve Bracks in 2007, Paul Strangio from Monash University says his government managed the state well.
I think history will treat it well. Of course, the common view is that of the state Labor governments that came to power in a cycle beginning with the Carr government in the mid-1990s, Victoria's was the best performed of those.
Analysts say a number of factors contributed to Labor's loss last weekend, including public transport issues, electoral fatigue and the cost of living. Ted Baillieu has promised to address all of those issues, but how long that will take remains to be seen.
The first priority is to provide stable, responsible, disciplined government. I've indicated in policy terms we obviously have priorities in regard to community safety, reliable transport and a range of other issues. But we will take this a step at a time.
Hamish Fitzsimmons, Late Line.